The man stopped to admire his handsome face every time he looked at the glass, but it was this habit that cost him his life. That day he just finished narcissism, did not pay attention to the foot, the next second fell into a black hole. He could never have imagined that such a thing would happen the day before the wedding, so angry that he quickly grabbed the escalator and wanted to climb out. But God did not want to spare him, and soon he found that the escalator was broken. He wanted to jump up and try it, and broke his leg on the spot. In desperation, he had to bandage his wound first. Looking at this time has been 1 o'clock in the morning, he quickly took out the phone to call his fiancée. "Hello, the subscriber you dialed cannot be connected at the moment." In desperation, he had to call the police first. Fortunately, there was someone on duty at the police station, and said that the police would go to his location in 10 minutes to save him. He had thought that the police would come soon, but an hour later, he did not pick up the shadow of the police, and it rained heavily in the sky. When the man was shivering, the police called her, saying that they had searched for more than an hour, but could not find the hole she was in, and asked the man to keep up his strength as much as possible. If he heard a sound from overhead, he shouted for help. Sensing something was wrong, the man immediately threw his mobile phone toward the hole, trying to capture some nearby pictures, but the next second, the phone did not fall down, but stuck on the escalator. When she looked down, she suddenly found that the gas pipe in the well had leaked, and she quickly took out the tape in the bag and wrapped it up, and then quickly threw the phone down with her shoes. At this time, the man no longer chose to wait, launched a charge against the escalator, finally caught the escalator above, did not expect that due to disrepair, he fell down the escalator again. But God's test for him has just begun. The man accidentally fell into a bottomless dry well. In order to let people to save him, he directly opened the mobile phone to create a social account, and then used a picture of a beautiful woman as a profile picture, deliberately sent a distress post, hoping that someone would save him, not knowing that it was precisely because of this act of his falsification that he was completely harmed in the end. When he silently prayed that God could help him, the source suddenly poured into some white foam. He quickly searched the internet for what this foam is. The results unexpectedly found that these bubbles are formed by some animal decay, and also has a certain corrosive. Just when he was scared out of his wits, the phone ring suddenly rang. The other person is not someone else, but his former girlfriend who broke up 5 years ago. Turns out that the former girlfriend saw his post. After learning that the saw is pouring into the unidentified foam, the ex-girlfriend hurriedly asked Xiao Shui to take care of the wound on his body, because if the foam seeps into his wound, his body will soon rot. Helpless, Small Handsome had to look for tools in his briefcase, but also found a stapler for a long time. In order to prevent the tragedy, Xiao Shui had to staple his wound, although he was in pain at this time, but he had to do so, because the foam was still pouring in. Fortunately, at this time, Xiao Shui found his post on fire. Many netizens think that fell into the well is a beautiful woman, have expressed their willingness to save her, and some netizens commented that he fell into the manhole cover is near his home. Just in the Small Handsome happy reply to the news of the netizens, everyone knows that the foam has been piled up at his feet. When the Small Handsome was completely submerged by the bubble, the Small Handsome suddenly emerged with a bold idea, because if you have been sitting still, you must be doomed to death. So he directly opened the gas pipe in the well, took out the lighter. The next second the whole hole occurred a violent explosion. Fortunately, the Small Handsome was safe in the end, and all the foam was blown away. At this time, the mobile phone rang again. The other side is still an ex-girlfriend. When he proudly said that he was okay, he turned his head, suddenly froze, originally because the explosion just blew out a body. To see such a terrible scene, Small Handsome face was scared green. He looked at the water at the bottom of the well. The result found that he is not handsome. Just then he suddenly remembered a terrible thing. The man who looked like Shui Jiqian just opened the door and froze, only to find the next second the other side knocked him unconscious to the ground, then stole his documents and mobile phone, and threw it into a dark underground well. This is not the most frightening. In order to get the same face as his, this man went directly to the plastic surgery hospital, with his face to be changed into his appearance. It was the last thing he wanted to remember. Until the day he falls into the saw and sees a body, the past is still back in his mind, because this mummified body is the one he killed. Emotionally broken, he hurriedly buried the mummified body with earth, because the other side's face was too scary. When Little Handsome was thinking about how to escape here, there was a sudden sound of footsteps above, and then the mobile phone ring suddenly sounded. The other side was not someone else, it was his ex-girlfriend. Learned that his ex-girlfriend has found him, Small Handsome heart is very happy, thought this finally can escape, but the current girlfriend with a rope to pull him up. He found that the other side is not his ex-girlfriend, but once he killed the wife of the small beauty. Before he could figure out what was going on, Mai took out a marker and drew a mark on his face, then took out the scalpel in the bag. Apparently, Mai already knows the identity of the man in front of her. Looking at each other's face of doubt, Small Beauty no longer chose to disguise, directly said his plan today. The Small Handsome fell into the dry well of the accident. In fact, is the Small Beauty one-hand planning. He did so not for other purposes, is to let the Small Handsome try the taste of pain. When the Small Handsome thought he was about to die, did not expect the Small Beauty to see his familiar face, actually did not have the heart to frighten the hand, but put him. The next second the small handsome directly strangled his neck from behind. Watching the small beauty is about to die, the dark suddenly hit a cloud arrow, directly shot through the small handsome face. Then he fell into the well again due to weightlessness. It turned out that he sent the post of beauty for help, attracted the rescue of enthusiastic netizens. In this way, the beauty trapped in the well was successfully rescued. Although after the small handsome want to try to explain himself is posting for help, but no one believes his nonsense. At the end of the story, the enthusiastic netizens will firmly cover the manhole cover after a word, trapping him inside forever. The film tells us that good will be rewarded with good, evil with evil, and evil will eventually be punished.